Hello.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm great.
I'm glad to hear that. This is a bonus episode of the Jaunty Mantis, a
Oh,
tabletop
good.
role-playing game.
Oh,
Where-
thank God.
what?
No, this is the way you started that.
Okay,
No.
because
All
I
right,
was being really awkward.
keep going. Keep going.
Okay, a podcast about tabletop role-playing games where we try to answer creative questions for curious gamers. This, as I said, is a bonus episode, so we don't really have a format. So at the time of recording, this is one of the fun ones where we just get to talk about what we want to. It is the very beginning of a brand new year,
Yes.
2025, for posterity. And
Yes.
so the question that I had for my co-host, Maddie, I'm Jesse, by the way, hello, is do you have any gaming goals for this coming year?
Gaming goals.
Yeah, I mean, anything you want to do
Do
this
people
year?
have gaming goals? Is this a thing?
I mean, I like with the limited amount of time adulthood, fatherhood, and a job leave me to game. I have fever dreams of what I could do if I had infinite time. So I got some things that I want to do this year, and I
Well, I
wondered if
feel
you had the
like
same.
the closest thing I have to a gamer goal is to finish the 1 to 20 game. I'm running a 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons game, as you know.
Maddie's favorite system.
Yeah, it's been on my bucket list. I want to do this before I die. I've never played in or ran a Dungeons and Dragons game that went from 1 to 20. And we are at level 3 or 4 right now. So it is not going as fast as I would have wanted. That's something I actually wanted to ask you about because I I have been I don't know how to put it. I have been kind of like gun shy on auto leveling.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have not leveled the party unless it's after a combat because in my brain, I want y'all to use what's on your character sheet each level at least once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it feels disingenuous to level the party because if I had my way, I would just do it after every session.
Yeah, I'm literally the worst person to ask about that because I fiend for levels. like
Okay.
Like,
So
give
in
me
your
new
opinion, I
shinies.
should.
I don't care if I got to use the old shinies.
Okay.
Now I'll just use the new shinies that are stronger. So,
Okay. Well, no, maybe you're the right person to ask for it then, or to ask that to then, because the way I think is like if I was playing in the group, it's like I didn't even get a chance to use X when I first got it, but that doesn't really make sense because you could use it at any time. If you got a
yeah,
new spell last session, then leveled up, you could still use that fucking spell again.
it's still good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I haven't got to use my main subclass at level 3 feature of like channeling the elements like once. We haven't really had a fight since we leveled to 3.
Yeah. I think what I'm going to have to do is because we took a break for the holiday, when we come back, I may offer up 2 or 3 levels after we complete that session just to bring us back into track of where we should be
I'd say give us
relevantly.
one now just because I want it. And no, I would say give us one now through the Discord. So everybody, but do it like the Thursday before game. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody's like going back over their character sheet ahead of jumping
No.
into a session. I
Okay.
wonder, because we haven't played in like a month. It's just going to be the wiggles. Like everybody's just going to be like, like, and
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if refocusing on your character sheets through leveling up would be a way to focus the attention back on the game and get us rolling in.
This is the teacher in you, and I appreciate it.
Uh, I
This is the kind
also
of thing a
want the
teacher would
level,
do.
so yeah, I don't know.
That's great advice from a teacher. Seriously. Like a teacher is sitting there going like, how do I get my students re-engaged with the material after a break, for
Yeah,
instance?
what's the engage activity? Like, how do we focus their cognitive abilities on the topic at hand?
Yeah.
Make them level their characters up.
So in your opinion, I should go back to my original concepting of just leveling once per session automatically.
I don't know about once per session. I mean, I don't know if I could talk. You're going to have to take a break here in a couple months. I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm allowed to talk about why or if we have talked
Big
about why.
changes for Maddie in a
Yeah,
couple of months. We'll just
big,
leave it at that.
yeah, big changes. So I think at this point, the time crunch maybe means one per session is the only way to get close to, because I don't even know if we have 20 sessions and
We
or
don't.
no 17 sessions until
Yeah.
yeah.
The other part of that problem, though, is that the story scale is moving, will then move too quickly for me to keep up with.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. That's the other reason why I haven't been like just rapid fire leveling you guys after every session. Because I want the relative, like, you guys are still in a small town as things are ratcheting up. And
Yeah,
things have
but that
already
ratchet
ratcheted up faster than I've wanted them to.
that ratcheting up of things that we can all kind of feel in the campaign, I feel like that's gonna like that would not put it off kilter to face things that are appropriate for the levels if the level gain did go faster.
Yeah.
But
We'll
also
see.
too, we can say like, we can take a break while you take care of the stuff you need to take care of because
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I should just trust in the group. I have found that to be very difficult. Like, not because of the group itself. The group is amazing. Like, here's a correlation. Like, my wife and I, this is the first time we've ever been in a good relationship. And I'm like in my mid 40s. All
mm-hmm.
right. So like when I met her, I didn't know what a good relationship was because I've just been in bad relationships or relationships that didn't succeed, obviously. And like it's no fault of like the people involved. It's just like that's the messiness of romantic life for human beings is like it's trial and error. Like, who knows whether or not they're in a good or bad relationship until they've had time to test it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the it's like there's so many things that you need to learn how to do in a good relationship that you're just because you're just not used to it. You're used to like I'll just speak for myself. In past relationships, I'm used to having like combative arguments and hurt feelings all the time and resentment and all of these key things. And sometimes those do happen in good relationships. Don't get me wrong. It's just weird to have a relationship partner where you are able to work things out and work them out in a meaningful way. And like they don't take forever for that to happen, and like you can chart change and you know that both people are working towards a meaningful goal and you don't feel lost.
Yeah.
And the whole point I'm trying to make is like I have a great group that I'm a part of that you're in. And it's like I find myself kind of doing the same kinds of things, but in a D&D sense. Like I don't trust that I can like take a break from the group and then come back to this and everything will be fine. You know,
Why? I mean, you've done it before. Why wouldn't it be fine the next time?
it's
And
just
this time
wired into
with
me.
the most like heads up and warning and like probably sympathy the group could give you, Like so.
Yeah, I know. It's like I've had so many bad gamer groups. I've had good gamer groups too. You've been in them, but like, where things just haven't worked out or you know what I mean? And it's like once you're in a good group, it's like, oh yeah, like these are my friends. Like it'll
This is
work out.
a tangent based on what you said. I'm trying to think, and maybe it's just like the gloss of memory or blocking out bad experiences, but I can't think of a session that I've ever been a player in, or like a session with another gaming group where I've had the thought during what would be the last session, this is the last session.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of seem to like peter out.
Yeah, but that's my point, though. I'm used to games petering out. I'm used to being like, yeah, everything will be fine, and then we never get back to it ever again.
Yeah, but no, this one, everything will be fine. We know
Yeah.
the goal is 1 to 20. We know it's not going to take 8 years to do. Everybody's on board.
I mean, even if it did take 8 years, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if there was plausible breaks and everybody was respectful of one another. And
Yeah.
that's the part of me that is like in contest here. So anyway, that's
So it's
just
for 2025, more progress.
yeah. That's one of my gamer goals for 2025. What's one of yours, Jesse?
Um, I got a couple systems I want to have hit the table. Um, I'm champing at the bit to try Savage Rifts. Um, I'm gonna make another stab at a Vampire the Masquerade campaign this year with one of my game groups.
Nice.
Um, I think I might try and run a big 5e adventure a second time, one I've already done before. So I think I might one of my groups like make him do Curse of Strahd this year because I've run that to completion once and you know and I've got that Beetle and Grimm's set that has the
Yeah.
little finger puppets for like the werewolf and Strahd and like the mummy, the Bride of Frankenstein lady, so I could be rules lawyer and puppet fucker,
hmm
the main player types.
hmm
So yeah,
The only
that
ones worth
that's a
mentioning.
short list. I want to get Transformers on the table.
hmm
Um, I have more goals than there will be time in this year. I
Yeah.
want to do the Palladium fantasy game where I run them through like one of the big OSR adventures, like the Dark Tower, um, but use Palladium to run it just for kicks.
Nice.
I don't know, like
Nice. I want to run a cipher system game.
yeah,
I want to finally do it. And that's
I
in
really want to
direct
run
conflict with
Predation. I
my
was
1 to
reading
20.
Predation last night, like literally last night, like, and I was like, oh man, yeah.
Yeah, I like that book. I have read it. Yes. Yeah, we'll be seeing more of that. Um,
Predation, by the way, for the listeners at home, I think that's one of the list of things I said you're least likely to know. So I'll do a little explanation. It's a cipher system game where you basically are the child or grandchild of time travelers from the future who went back to the Cretaceous period to do something like 70 years ago. Time travel stopped working. And so now you've just grown up in these small human colonies in the Cretaceous period. And the people know the asteroid is coming at some point, but they don't know when. And time travel stopped working. So they're stuck.
mhm.
And so they got like cybernetics that they still make and gene engineering, and they make cyborg dinosaurs, and there's a couple factions, and I don't actually know what you do in Predation other than just be in the setting. I need to spend some more time with the book, but it has a cool system where everybody has a companion dinosaur that has its own little character sheet and is played by someone else at the table.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I feel like you're giving a little peek behind the curtain here for season 5.
Oh yeah, shit. Season 5 dinosaurs. Forget I said that.
We'll be reviewing this book as a part of season 5.
That's why I feel like I have to play it before we do it, you know? Like
Yeah. Yeah,
first reads are good, but like if we actually had a play experience, that'd be
that'd be pretty
better.
great. Yeah. I I want to do something with the Beneath setting as I am putting those episodes from season 2 up on YouTube where we use Kevin Crawford's Worlds Without Numbers books in order to create a fantasy setting. And we created a setting that we called Beneath. And I was like, wouldn't that be cool as a cipher system setting?
That would be cool as a cipher system setting. I think of all the ones that we did in season 2, like they say you're not supposed to have favorites with your children, but I think
Mhm.
Beneath was the one. Like I liked everything we made, but Beneath was the one that I was like, this is badass. I want to write more on this.
Yeah,
Which is
definitely.
another goal is maybe like get a thing that could be a source book written in on the DM's Guild or something this year.
Hmm. Wow, that is lofty.
Didn't have
That
to be
is
a long
lofty.
one or a good one, just one.
Oh, well then then that case, let me go into my next gamer goal, which is to meet Monty Cook.
Again? Oh no, you never met him. I met
I
him.
never met him. You did.
I did. I met
Yeah.
Monty Cook in 2002.
Yeah,
When's
one of
Bane
those.
Warrens come out? Monty Cook, for those who are not up to snuff and are 5e people, Monty Cook is a guy who I think joined TSR working on Planescape originally
Yep.
and wound up being like one of the major designers, but I think lead designer for the 3.5 incarnation of the rules. So if you play Pathfinder, you should thank Monty Cook if you don't know who he is because he made your game.
Pretty
Um,
much.
but he had a really cool adventure module called the Bane Warrens, where there were all kinds of really messed up elements, like a troll that could ethereal jaunt at will and had a ring of wishes with one wish left on it. And at one point, a party made of shape-shifting monsters like tries to take over the party and impersonate them. It's just really hard, really challenging, really interesting. And I ran into him at a Gen Con and I was just like, "Excuse me, are you Monty Cook, designer of the Tollus setting and the Bane Warrens adventure?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "You magnificent bastard." Shook his hand and walked away.
Yep. I mean, other people did work on third edition, uh, and but really Monty Cook is the one that kind of became the guy out of that whole thing. He's the recognizable name, created a company, developed another gaming system, is really known for creative gaming. Numenera, which comes from the Cypher system, which he created the Cypher system with two other people, which I'm blanking on the names of, and I apologize. But Numenera is kind of like, I don't want to sell it short, but it's kind of like his fever dream of sci fantasy, like, and how it would actually work in an established setting.
Yeah, he's so good at like just odd. Like
Mm-hmm.
he likes the odd. And that's one of the things like with his work on like the original Planescape. Like you had the combination of Monty Cook's odd ideas and Tony D. Terlizzi's art, like infusing Planescape, making it, even though I don't think it sold very well in TSR shortly after went under, like just a really cool, stylish setting that I quite liked.
It's easy to do odd. It's difficult to translate it to a mass audience,
Yes.
which is one of Monty Cook's like most it's one of his best qualities and it's one of his most overlooked qualities because if you can take something of a scale of Tollus or you can take ideas like the Bane Warrens or if you can take something like Numenera and like really put it into something that a lot of other people can wrap their heads around, then that's a gift. And
Hmm.
you know, I'm not a fan. I try not to be a fan of things. I don't like to get into celebrities. I have encountered celebrities in the real world and purposely not interacted with them because I've been like, people are people. I don't like being a fan of things and of people. Like, I like liking things. I don't like being a fanatic about things. And like, I don't like going up and gushing and be like, oh my God, you're this person. I love your movie or blah, blah, blah. And I feel like Monty Cook would be the exception to that for me.
Well, if you need help going back to that principle of not being a fan of things, like we can find you a copy of Monty Cook's World of Darkness and we can take a look at that.
Why is it bad or good?
It's I don't I want to read it again. I sold my copy a long time ago, but I'm kind of like I brushed it off because it wasn't exactly like the World of Darkness, but with D20 rules. Like
Mm-hmm.
so, I don't know. It's very similar to Nightbane, actually, like the
What is
Palladium,
Nightbane?
the Palladium one, where like
Oh,
there
okay.
was like I forget what the date is, but like one day the sun just went out and it was like the day of darkness and there were riots and weird murders and people saw things because all these teenagers express this monstrous like their mortis mopus mobus form. I don't know. Like half motorcycle insectoid aliens that they can turn into, and the world's being
Whoa.
invaded by these like shadow beings from a like dark parallel Earth, and like it's a secret 90s gritty supernatural war behind the scenes against these people that have like replaced the president with a doppelganger, and they're evil sorcerer kings from ancient Sumeria who are living in another dimension. And you're a shape changing teenager battling against them for this future of Earth.
That sounds fucking awesome.
It's kind of awesome, actually. The tables for making character. It's still a Palladium game, but yeah.
Nice. So what's another gamer goal you have for 2025?
Um. Well, I'd like to keep doing the podcast. That's a goal. Uh. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I want to try more games.
Mm-hmm.
Is basically what it is. Like I was actually thinking I want to do a predation game, maybe a one shot. I need to do more one shots, I think, is probably what the goal should be.
Really?
Like I need to do more one shots with more people who are RPG curious, and I need to get my chops up with that. Also, I want to go to at least one con, which I know I am. I'm going to do Gen Con this year.
Nice.
The Foggy Hollow Cruise coming up for Gen Con.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That should be a great time.
So that's a goal. I got to start saving because well, you've seen me at a Gen Con.
Yeah, the drug is all around you.
The spice infuses the air.
Well, something's got to deal with that smell, but yeah.
Yeah. um. Yeah, I don't know. I want to do more OSRE stuff. I want to get some writing of my own interests, like expanding beneath, because there were so many cores of cool ideas in there.
Yeah.
I had this other idea that, okay, so have you gotten your hands on the Frontiers of Eberron Quickstone book?
No, I haven't done that yet. That's
Okay,
like the final one, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's all about Droam.
Yes.
The daughters of Sorakel, the
fuck yeah,
Medusa, like they make gargoyles and Medusa playable races. Like
Hell yeah, man.
they have a whole dueling system for wand slinging.
Nice.
And it's definitely got like a Western sort of like the frontier, like a cowboy in Eberron sort of vibe. I want to do a Frontiers of Eberron campaign or mini campaign, but it's not cowboys. It's the great game, Russia and England and Afghanistan in the
wow.
1800s. Because I just listened to this podcast about, the great game, and I'm like, oh, that'd be so cool if like you're all agents of the British Crown and you're like delivering a gift to the Medusa of this hold, but really you're like mapping the roads and surveying as you go, and then you're intercepted by a party of like gargoyles who are in the service who've been paid as mercenaries by like this inspired diplomat who's also doing the same thing. Because I was like, Breland versus Phaedra? I don't know. Like,
I wonder how much of this will tie into his book series. Did you ever read his Thorn series? The main character's name is Thorn.
No.
She's a half elven Brelish spy, and it really does showcase like like Keith Baker wrote them. And it really like the advantage of it is like when the creator of the setting is writing the books, like chef's kiss, but they're not like it's not like they're D&D books. They're meant to be pulpy and fun and like reminiscent of like spy books, is the obvious inspiration. And I wonder how like the first book takes place with like an envoy to meet the daughters of Sorakel in Droam to like because they've been summoned there. Like the doors of like an invitation has been made. So like all of these different countries have sent nobles, and every noble has like an envoy traveling with them, and in the envoy everyone has a set of spies.
Yeah.
It's like if you don't mind like on the cheaper side of thrills when it comes to writing. They're great books. Like I do. I love the Troy Denning Dark Sun books. I absolutely love them. One of my favorite authors is Joel Rosenberg, and his fantasy books are, it's not the height of literature. You know, it's not going to change the way you think about the world and your own mortality, but it is going to fucking entertain you and like sunburst your imagination for you. You know, and that's what these books are. Like, is Keith Baker the best novelist in the world? No, but he knows what he's writing. It's his world, and they're super fun books. And I wonder how much of those stories are going to tie into that other book.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'll have to check those out.
Yeah, maybe I should be putting that on my gamer goal is is trying Eberron again and picking that up. But then, God, that would have to be more D&D.
You could always
Tis
try
my curse.
I mean, you can always try it in the Cypher system. I mean, like it's
Yeah,
a
I'm sure
campaign setting.
I'm sure there's a guide online about how to do Eberron in the Cypher system.
Yeah, somebody's hacked it for sure.
I know that his the podcast he was on, I can't remember the name of it. It's a great podcast. I'll have to, if I can remember it, I'll put it in the show notes. But the original episodes of it, they have one of the hosts was like, yeah, I don't like Dungeons and Dragons, so I figured out how to run Eberron in Savage Worlds. So you're like, all right, there you go. Like that'll work. So
Oh
maybe
yeah,
that's what
that's
I should
easy
do.
because they have like the Savage Worlds fantasy guide, and then they also have like Savage Worlds Pathfinder. Like,
Yeah. And they have like the rules, like the one Savage Worlds book I used to own, like they had rules for like what you would, you know, essentially what is an artificer, you know, like it slots in pretty easily. Like theirs was like a superhero techno gadgeteer of some sort. But it's
yeah,
like,
because in Deadlands they have the Gadgeteer. So,
yeah, you just put a different coat of paint on it. It's basically the artificer from Eberron, you
mhm.
know. So maybe that's what I'll do is I'll run it in Savage Worlds
I think
or
that's actually
the
how
Cypher
Techno
system.
Wizards and Savage Rifts work. Is like with that same arcane path to power of like gadgets or weird science. I think is what it's called.
Yeah. And then maybe for fun, I'll throw a juicer in that as well.
Yeah, we're adding a burn dice.
New class for for Savage Eberron,
I'm a
juicer.
I'm a tiefling from the venomous domain, and I'm full of demon blood that's gonna kill me in 6 years.
You know what though? That would be kind of cool if you could tie it in with like the Kyber dragon shards, or at least what is it? The mark, what is the aberrant marks that like
Oh,
all
aberrant
the,
dragon marks.
yeah, if you tied that into aberrant dragon marks, that would be cool as a
You actually
class.
could if you were doing like the Delkir, you could do like a burn dice for like symbiotes. Like,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Dude, this can go places. I'm curious. I'll never get to
mhm.
Cypher System. God damn it.
Someday,
Yeah.
someday, maybe when we are all together, we will do one afternoon of predation as a mini game
I would love that. Yeah.
to play Cypher and then see where
I
it goes from there.
One of my potential critiques of the Cypher system is that every, because I have read a fair number of books using the Cypher system, and they all seem to heavily rely on the sci fantasy aspect or the cyber aspect or the science fiction aspect. The tech aspect is maybe what I should put. Like they all like it's like, is there a book in here that doesn't use that heavily? You know, like even the fantasy book that I have like has a reference part for here's how you use the focus that like lets you pilot vehicles or command cybernetics or have cybernetics. And it's like, I wonder if the system relies too heavily on that particular part of it.
Yeah, they tweaked like they're really good at doing tweaks. And they're like, hey, here's some ones from the main aspects from the main rule book that you can use. Like predation has the predation setting doesn't have robots really.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not know whether they've lost the ability to do them or robots didn't time travel well, or maybe robots were a step that got by the time travel was invented, got bypassed to some other technology, but there's cybernetics. So the like commands robots is shifted to commands cybernetics. And I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
that's really great how that just slots in. I mean, what is the big fantasy setting is God's Fall?
Something like that. I don't remember. I've got it somewhere on my computer here, but like what they do for a recommendation is like if you were using the robots one, the robots foci, they're like, yeah, just change it to toys. Like,
Yeah.
your character builds toys. That's, it's not robots, it's toys. So
Yeah.
works for me.
I love the flexibility of those now that I've
Yeah.
been playing really old games where you have to do rulings, not rules, so I can get over myself because of what all the awesome times I had playing 3.5, but also what it did to my brain and thinking about games.
Hmm.
I will continue as my last goal to be free in 2025. Do you anything else you got that you want to get done on the list? So I
No,
think
that's
basically
pretty
try
much
new
it.
systems is what we're going to do this year.
Yeah,
We'll try
I
to.
I want to I want to cross 1 to 20 off the bucket list before I die. So I want to do that in 2025. And then I also want to try out a couple of the other systems. And then I would like to return to Aberon because I fucking love Aberon. It's like one of
Who
my
doesn't?
favorite things. I didn't for years. Do you not remember this?
Oh yeah, you. I had brought one book to Mexico, and you were reading it on the deck one afternoon. This
Mm-hmm.
was when I got married, audience. Like my destination wedding with like 16 people in Puerto Vallarta. Like I brought an Eberron book to read on during my downtime, you know,
Yeah.
for the week I'm getting married with all my family and best friends there. And Matt was reading it, and there was something in it that you just I forget what it was. I think it was the passage about like everything in D&D exists in Eberron.
Well, you're not wrong. I think that's just like a piece of it. My biggest problem with Eberron was on the surface, it didn't appear to be doing anything different than all of the other superfluous 3.5 OGL adjacent books by everybody else was doing. Like Eberron had the Warforged, and it's like, yeah, every company was coming out with like an automaton, magical construct race for the game. Like the Artificer wasn't unique to Eberron as a concept. It was being done in all these other books. And so, like, on a surface level, I was like, why are people into this? It's not doing anything really different than all of these other books that have come before. Now, whether or not it's doing it better or worse wasn't my argument because I think it was. I think the Warforged are better. I think the Artificer is better, right? But like that was my initial issue is I was so put off by how everybody was like super hot about it, and like the play style, the swashbuckling action adventure pulp, with the action dice. And I was like, you can do this in any game. Who cares? Like, this is not unique. And I'm willing to totally eat crow on this after years and years of not figuring it out and then finally getting it. That like Eberron isn't these individual pieces that I'm judging it for. It's not, you know what I mean? It's the sum of its parts, not the parts individually.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the parts working together create this like really fantastic setting that you like really can't appreciate until you see exactly what he's doing with it. You know,
And the thing that I think sets it apart, we got to wrap this one up. But the one of the things I love about Eberron that sets it apart is like when we talk about campaign setting and offer advice on this show, we're like, the history doesn't matter. Don't write a
hmm.
history. No one cares about it. In Eberron, the history is everything.
Yeah.
Like, but it's all tied into current conflicts, current chances for adventure. Like it all matters.
Yeah.
Like the gatekeeper druids or grovekeeper druids or whatever, and then the demons from the age of demons. Like that history matters because someone's going to crack open one of those seals, and then it's going to
Right.
be evil dead. in a forest with like half were creature PCs. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I mean, we could do a whole bonus episode just on Eberron, but I'll save that for that episode. But like, everything just works so fucking well together. And one of the primary core principles of Eberron is that the players are the change makers in the world. Like, yes, there are kind of super powerful things out there, but for the most part, the world is out there to be changed by the player characters. Your player characters are going to make the impact that changes the fortune of this world. It's been designed for that. And I think that's one of my most favorite things about it. In all these other settings, no shade on them, but there's like, these are the power players, they control everything. It's all very separate and distant from your player characters, who are just kind of like minor, people coming up in the world. In Eberron, it's like your characters are coming out of the Great War. You know what I mean? Like, like the thing, the like there's like in other settings, they're always referencing these old wars that changed the world. In Eberron, your character just got out of the war that
yeah, you
changed
just
the
lived through
world.
it.
Yeah. Like, you're a fucking veteran of it, like, and that's level one. It just happened, and it's fucking brilliant.
There's a thing that I heard on I'm trying to remember what the guy's name is, and he's what is his name? Shackleton,
Okay.
Antarctic explorer. I was
Okay.
just thinking about this because I every time I hear something about World War One, right, I think about it in the context of Eberron. I wonder why, right? Um, so Ernest Shackleton like has this expedition where he's gonna like they've left food stashes and they're gonna travel all the way across Antarctica. He didn't get there first for the South Pole. Like he's gonna travel all the way across. The expedition goes bad. He like they get stuck in the ice. They have to abandon the boat on this little thing. They get to this one little island. He's like, I'm not going to leave you guys here to die. He takes two of his crew and he like just aims like in the whole south the whole ocean. Like he's got this one thing to hit, I think, South Georgia Island. It's an amazing feat of navigation in some of the worst seas in the world in a tiny ass boat. And when one of the dudes in that boat loses his glove, he gives him his own. Like, and every day the guys that are left waiting to be rescued, like, are like, the boss is coming back, probably today. Like, and it took him 2 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but eventually he gets back. He rescues them with a little tug that he
Oh,
got off
wow.
this whaling station because he got to the island. They got to the island where rescue could be because there was a whaling station there, but they hit it on the wrong side because of the current and had to get out of the boat after days on it and hike like 40 kilometers over mountains to get to the whaling station to get help.
Jesus.
It's an amazing story of endurance, and he didn't leave them behind, and he got his men out, and they weren't successful in the mission, and that doesn't matter. But here's the thing that someone said that got me thinking, oh my God, this is an amazing character background. He left on this expedition, and it's Edwardian England. He gets back from 2 years being trapped in Antarctica, and it's World War One. The
Holy
whole world
shit.
has gone mad. Like,
Wow. Yeah.
like in the time he has been gone, can you imagine you're away from civilization when you come back? They're like the age of chivalry and like
Yeah.
all that like 19th century stuff. It's just gone. It's just devastated. It's machine guns and trenches and gas attacks and airplanes. And like
Fuck.
all of the dudes on his crew tried to sign up and enlist. Like, but I'm like, imagine if you're like, I mean, I know the last war was 100 years long, but if you could be like, I went to Kabara on an expedition,
Yeah.
I got trapped in a time pocket, and when I come back, what?
Yeah, for sure. Oh my God. That's incredible.
Yeah, I need to make more connections between all the history podcasts I listen to and the gaming I'm doing.
Yeah, history can be a great asset for gaming. Like, don't sleep on history. Become a student
Yep.
of it.
Yep. Okay, cool. Well, if you have any plans, dear listener, for 2025 that you kind of just want to talk about or want to tell somebody about, email us, johntmantis@gmail.com, and get out there and play some new games or some fucking shit. I don't know. I just work.
Yeah. Keep playing those fucking role playing games.
Should a 2025 resolution be to get a new closing like sign off statement or?
Oh, I was just feeling comfortable with it.
Okay, why fix what isn't broken? I don't know.
Or why not keep breaking what can never be
make
fixed?
perfect the enemy of good or some fucking shit.